but I could see it. And Hulk was, up until the date, oh, I was debating whether I was going to share this or not, but I'm going to. So I went to see Hulk a couple weeks ago. He had been in the hospital. I wasn't really getting day-to-day updates on his condition. I was kind of like I am currently now. I don't want to be the guy calling up all of you. How's he doing? When can I come and visit? I do want to do that because it's stressful if you're there and you're taking care of somebody and you're managing things and you're managing your own emotions and things. It's just the last thing you want is somebody calling up, taking your time or your energy. So I kind of laid back and I would get information as it came in. And when I found out that Hulk had gone home from the hospital, it's just whatever it was, 3 weeks ago, I think. I called Hulk. I said, "All right, brother." Nick told me that he could talk, and Nick asked me to give him a call, actually. So I got him on the phone, and I could tell he was weak. He sounded tired, but he still had that, "Brother, what are we going to do next?" kind of underlying current of energy in his voice. Even though he sounded tired, he sounded weak, he still had that, "What's going on with Real American Freestyle? Where are we at? Have you talked to Kurt?" That kind of thing. Checking up on me to make sure I was on top of my shit. And I said, "Hulk, I'm coming down to see you." He goes, "Man, I really, really want to see you, but I'm kind of embarrassed for you to see me this way because, I've been pretty sick." I said, "Hulk, when I look at you, I don't see the same thing that you see when you look in the mirror. So fuck that. I'll be down Monday." And I came down and was able to spend some time with him. And the whole time I was there, other than, bringing me up to speed on where he was at and kind of what he went through, which is I was there for maybe an hour or so. Probably the first 5-10 minutes of it was, the situation he was in. But then it was like, "Brothers, what's going on with Real American Freestyle? We signed Wyatt Hendrickson yet?" It's just like, what's the event look like in August? And we got tickets on sale. It's all he wanted to talk about was business, but in a fun, energetic way, even though he was struggling. It was just a little more effort than it should have been for him to even talk at that time because his larynx and all this stuff got moved around during surgery. So it was work for him to have a conversation. But he was the same guy. And I texted because right before I left, and I knew, he had a nurse there, and I could tell he was getting tired, and I could tell the nurse was starting to get a little anxious because she had to elevate his legs, and there were just certain things she had to do to make sure that, he was going to stay healthy. And they had to get him on oxygen, on a regular basis because that was one of the challenges that he had was the CO2 levels in his system. Anyway, one of the last things I said is, "All right, Hulk, I got to take off. I got some calls to make," which wasn't true. I just didn't want to be hanging around and become a burden or just be an obstacle, right? So I said, "I'll tell you what, I'm going to call over to Chad. We're going to set things up. We'll see if we can get you out and get you on some interviews." Now, I knew damn good and well it was going, and then obviously I didn't know what was going to happen, but I knew it was going to be quite a while before he was ready to do interviews, and he knew it too. But he said, "Brother, I can't wait. I may not be able to do anything on camera for a couple of weeks, but," he said, I'll be good on the phone. You can set some stuff up for me on the phone." He was so anxious to get back to work. He was, and I said that I had that conversation with him because I wanted to leave him kind of up and looking forward to something other than being taken care of. And I've just known, since I've known him, he loves the hunt. He loves the thrill of the hunt. I thought if I could give him something to be excited about, maybe it'll help him put up with the crap he's got to go through. So I had that conversation about, okay, I'll make some calls. We'll see if we can set some stuff up. And then I'm walking out of his house. I get to my car and I'm thinking, "You idiot," because his wife, Sky, doesn't really know me. We've spent a lot of time together. And I'm thinking, this poor woman sees me standing there talking to her husband who's really struggling, and I'm trying to get him out to do interviews, which wasn't the case. I was just giving him something to look forward to. So I actually had to text Sky and say, "Just so you know, I'm not really anxious to try to get him to do any kind of interviews. I'm not anxious for him to do anything but get healthy." But I said, he's always loved the hunt. I wanted him to have something to look forward to. And she responded back. She got it. She appreciated it. But that's just him, man. He loved the hunt.
Eric, we're getting so many positive thoughts and memories. We're going to try to run as many of those positive statements across the bottom of our video here as we start to head on the downhill slope for our show today. I can't imagine we're done telling Hulk Hogan stories after today. Those will live on forever. Somebody who took to Twitter that I wanted to share their message with is Linda McMahon. She wrote, I had the privilege of knowing and working with Hulk Hogan for 40 years. Hulk was a dear friend and member of our WWE family. His legacy in and out of the ring will always be remembered. He was one of a kind. My thoughts and prayers are with his family, his friends, and all of his fans. Your old pal Dennis Rodman took to Twitter as well. He says, NWO for life, brother. Hulk Hogan, always and forever. Thank you for the memories we created. Great friend indeed. Keep his family in your prayers. Hashtag too sweet. Troy Aikman of Dallas Cowboys Hall of Fame, the Super Bowl champion, the broadcaster. From a fan to a friend, working with Hulk Hogan for a few years was a thrill and a privilege. He was every bit the showman and entertainer we all grew up watching. Rest in peace, Hulk. We've talked a little bit about what Vince and Linda had to say, and we've heard from Eric, but even Dixie Carter, from formerly of TNA, took to Twitter to say, my heart hurts so much right now. My heart hurts even more for Brooke and Nick, who all loved Hulk. I was blessed to work with Hulk and have so many incredible memories I will cherish. A hard day for the wrestling world today. Hearts are hurting all over the world to lose such a beloved icon. Rest in eternal peace, Terry. You know, we haven't spent any time talking about Brooke and Nick. You and I had a conversation in Waterloo, Iowa, that I never thought we would talk about on the air, but I said, hey, man, I hope Nick attends events like this in the future. I started thinking about the health challenges that the Hulkster had had, and I thought about Charlotte Flair, and I know that Charlotte Flair will carry the banner for Rick one day, and just at attending events and just keeping his name and legacy going on. But I know Nick has not necessarily been a super public person, but I hope that Nick is able to attend some things and enjoy the legacy that his dad left, because there's a whole lot of Hulk Hogan fans out there who have a lot on their mind today. And I can't help but think about Nick, Eric.
Yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit about Nick. Obviously, I've known him pretty much all of his life. And over the last 6 months or so, I've started working, I say working, but communicating more regularly with Nick, because Nick is very much involved with the Real American Beer brand. He's a part of that team. And Nick was really excited about Real American Freestyle. So we started communicating, just, riffing ideas back and forth. I have to say, Nick is turning into a very mature, responsible young man. I'm very impressed with Nick. And he's going to struggle. I can't imagine the avalanche of complicated things that Nick is going to have to navigate, but he's a smart young man. He's mature, and he's a good man. So I think we'll probably see Nick. I hope we're going to see him at Real American Freestyle August 30th. He's going to be a part of everything we do. I know he's going to be a big part of the beer. And I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see more of Nick at some of these events, just so he can feel the love. It's not like he didn't grow up around it. He grew up as a little kid of people adoring his father and all of that inside an arena. But it's hearing the stories that make you really appreciate things, even more than being a 10-year-old kid and seeing your dad in the middle of the ring and 20,000 people cheering him and chanting his name and all that. That obviously makes a big impression on the kid, right? But as an adult, as a man, when he hears some of the stories that he was too young to appreciate, or maybe heard for the first time, because Nick's not been there with Hulk throughout his career. I think Nick's going to be relieved and grateful. It's the only word I can think of.
We're grateful that all of you are joining us. We're overwhelmed by your attendance and your outpouring of Hulk Hogan support. We're going to try to get to as many of these as we can today, but I want to remind you, we're not done talking about Hulk Hogan. So if you've sent us a super chat today, we are going to address it either in this video or later this week, because I think we can take victory laps till the cows come home for Hulk Hogan. I mean, I could read all of these messages from the different superstars. There's been such an outpouring of love from social media. Guys like Tony Schiavone, who says his impact in pro wrestling is undeniable. It's the end of an era. Jeremy Borash says he was a man who transformed our business. There was no one like him, and there may well be never another. Nick Aldis says Hulk Hogan represents his childhood, and to millions of others, that deserves recognition. I mean, even the freaking White House said Hulk Hogan will be greatly missed. Like, no matter where you are on American politics, and this is not a political show, and it never will be, just the idea that the White House is shouting out a quote unquote celebrity death. I mean, he transcended maybe the word celebrity, but I really liked a message from a guy like Matt Jackson. I know that a lot of fans have noted disappointment that AEW didn't acknowledge the passing of Hulk Hogan on their social media. I want to be clear, they've not done a broadcast yet. They will tonight. You got to assume they will. But Matt Jackson took to social media and said, "Would have never been a wrestler if I didn't watch the Hulkster. Always so kind to me and my family. He made videos for my son that we'll cherish forever. So gracious, even when nobody was watching."
Can we stop right there?
Yes, sir.
That was cool.
That's amazing.
Very cool, man.
Yes.
And the best part of it, just 1 second. The best part of it was at the end. And it's so true. Even when no one was watching. That's the part of Hulk I wish people could have seen. He really did love people. All people. He was that accessible. He was that nice of a guy. And as Matt said, and thank you, Matt, even when no one was watching. Sorry, that one got to me.